Welcome back. Let's now talk governance and politics. We're being joined on the program by Senator representing Anambra Central, Senator Victor Umeh. He joins us from Abuja studio. Distinguished, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So there's a lot to unpack within the time we have, and I'm spoiled for choice. But maybe we'll begin with one of the most controversial in the past few days that has to do with that face-off between the senator representing coming from Kogi State, Senator Natasha Akpoti, and the Senate President that has escalated. I don't know how many senators, past and present, lawmakers that have now granted interview because of some of the revelations she's made and allegations she's made. It has taken even some form of, you can call it colorations, whether it's ethnic or regional. But I wanted your generic view on what is playing out between the both, the senator and the Senate President. What's your view as far as the allegations are concerned, and the responses that the Senate, even the leadership of the Senate, is giving to some of those things raised?
Well, this is actually not something I would have loved to start with in this interview, but putting it across first, I will not shy away from it. For the fact that I'm a senator, and the issues developing are things that will impinge on the integrity of the Senate as an institution. We will not stay by and allow the Senate as an institution be brought to disrepute and ridicule, because the allegations that came on the media through the interview you are referring to, the allegations are allegations that one would not expect to come from somebody who is a senator. The Senate is not a small institution. It's a very big institution, the highest parliament in this country. It's not a House of Assembly, and it's not perhaps the House of Representatives. It's the Senate. And the people who are in the Senate are expected to conduct themselves with the highest decorum possible. So you would imagine how scandalized any senator would be to watch on television, see a senator make those allegations against the presiding officer, the Senate President. It's not something anybody can wish away and sweep under the carpet. One is that for you to be able to sustain such an allegation in a brazen manner on television, what you are saying must be impeccable. It must be justifiable. And even if it is justifiable, there are rules and procedures of addressing anything. Running to the television and begin to throw such allegations, myself, I take a great exception to that. I've listened to the interview about 3 times to be able to see if I can make anything out of it. And just like previous senators have spoken on the matter, including former female senators and a serving senator that's a female, I've listened to Senator Ireti Kingibe, who is the Chairman Senate Committee on Women Affairs. I saw her on Rice Television making her own points. I've also seen Senator Biodo Olujimi, former minority leader of the Senate, herself a woman. I also saw her position. Yesterday, I also saw Senator Florence Etagewa, a female senator of this republic, sometime in the past, and she also came out with her own position. Looking at this, I just referred to 3 women who, 2 have been senators here, and 1 is still serving. You will see that one will not be accused of trying to jump in to take side with the Senate President because he's a man. I think the whole thing is very nauseating, because something that started with a very simple, as it appeared, misunderstanding over allocation of seats has snowballed into a wildfire, which was unnecessary. When the first issue came up, that was the issue of seating arrangement. I wasn't in the chamber. I was in Lagos on assignment on behalf of the Senate, and I saw all those things on television, and I wondered how that could be an issue. The Senate is guided by rules, we have our standing rules, and everybody has standing rules of the book rules of the Senate. If you go there, those rules were copiously read out on the day this issue happened first time. And it was obvious that the Senate President has the full powers by section, Order 6, Rule 1. The Senate President allocates seats to everybody in the Senate. And Rule 6.2 says that the Senate President may change the seats at any time. So it's an unquestionable authority of the Senate President to allocate seats to anybody. And if he allocates seat for any reason to someone and the person refuses to accept that seat, it means the person doesn't want to participate in the proceedings of the Senate. So when that thing happened, I felt it was an action taken by our colleague trying to make fuse out of it, because she cannot pick and choose where to sit. And what led to the situation in the chamber was that she refused to accept the seat assigned to her. That is the rule of the Senate. If you want to be a senator, you have to be guided by the rules, and you must observe it. If there's anything you don't like, there are ways of addressing them. And when I went through all that, I had to write her I wrote her a message and told her to quietly find a way to go and apologize to the Senate President for that altercation in the chamber. I was doing it very patriotically. I didn't know that more things will still come out in the media. So the thing is that the Senate is not a place where you expect people there to behave like young people. We are no longer young people. We are senior citizens in this country. That is why in that chamber you have former governors, retired permanent secretaries, former deputy governors, and people who have been in the Senate, sometimes some of them 4 or 5 tenures. So it's not a place you want us to be discussing trivial things. We had to focus on issues of national importance, things that will help us drive the nation, on a stride of development and progress.
All right, Senator Umeh.
So I'm not happy. I'm not happy with what has happened, and it was uncalled for.
Indeed, it's a whole gamut of issues. The rules of the Senate, issues of national importance, they're important. But I'm not quite sure which trumps the other here, because there are also issues of visibility, representation, as it has to do with gender, that are also as important. But I'm not going to overflog that issue, because we want to, as much as possible, take advantage of this opportunity that we have with you to look at other leadership issues. And I'd like you to speak to what seems to have played out in 2 state assemblies over the last couple of weeks, Rivers State and Lagos State. For Lagos State, it appears to have been settled, but Rivers is still unfolding. But there are critical leadership issues, which also have to do with party interventions or otherwise. Do you believe that the truth of what exactly is going on has been sacrificed on the altar of party supremacy on the one hand, and on the other hand, judicial interventions that are debatable? And so where lies the template of ideal leadership in these state assembly matters?
Well, the truth of the matter is that people leave the substance and continue to chase and investigate shadows. Every parliament has its own rules, how it regulates its own activities. In the case of the Lagos State House of Assembly, one would expect that what people should be asking will be the rules of the House of Assembly of Lagos State. How do you conduct your proceedings? If the rule is that the Speaker is the presiding officer, which he ought to be, the day you say you are removing him from office, the question will be, was he presiding on that date? Or was he present in the chamber when that happened? after the first adjournment. I mean, the adjournment with which he traveled overseas. When the presiding officer adjourns proceedings to a date certain, before you can reconvene the assembly in his absence, there are a lot of procedures you have to go through to be able to reconvene the House. But in the case of Lagos State House of Assembly, I understand the Speaker was away in America and he was impeached. That will amount to shaving a man's head in his absence. So if you breach the rules of the Parliament, people will begin to question what you did, whether it is right or wrong, before you begin to take sides. So when he was removed, I was in Lagos at the weekend when he returned. People lined the streets waiting to receive him. I think he lives along Jewel Ogunaike Street in Ikeja. I passed through that road that day. The place was filled with people. It showed that something wrong had happened. And for the House of Assembly to have removed him while he was away, the first question was were they right to have impeached him in his absence? If they had the majority, as we were made to believe, or they want us to believe, they would have waited for him to come back, to be on his seat, and somebody will move a motion. You know, at that time he will be helpless, and the majority will overwhelm him. But they did this in his absence and wanted to be protected. So I think what has happened didn't happen through due process, and the matter was also taken to court. If they were strong enough to hold on to their positions, you don't start talking about party supremacy. A lawmaker, when he's elected, is in the chamber. When you take oath of office, you begin to act as a lawmaker and in accordance with the rules of that parliament where you have been elected to.
Right.
So for them to now say, I saw some people arguing that they didn't consult their party members before they impeached him.
Right.
When you elect somebody or elect and constitute a House of Assembly, the lawmakers are on their own to conduct their own affairs. They don't need to be delegated by anybody. So if they feel very strongly about anything and they feel that they have the requisite number, they go by the rules. If they go by the rules, you don't talk about party supremacy.
All right.
Yes,
Senator
because
Umeh.
they've been elected and they're now answerable to the people and not only to their party members. So if they have capitulated and gone back to resign after they assumed office and then turned around to elect somebody they have impeached over gross misconduct allegations and so on and so forth, it means that they're not serious.
All right.
So to that extent, I think what happened in Lagos should be allowed to rest, since those who impeached him have stepped down and re-elected him. So I think that speaker is a strong speaker, and he should be held for holding his fort. Then
Very interesting submissions, Senator Umeh.
River State. You have a follow-up question on this?
Well, yes, but we have so much to cover in this conversation. There's still the Anambra elections, which is coming, which I know is perhaps one of the top issues on your mind, because elections are a big deal for politicians. But I just wanted to link this to, the national sense of the quality of leadership, quality of representation in that sense. I mean, we can look at what's playing out in River State and still draw inferences from that. The Lagos scenario, there is Osun. You hardly look around and not find issues here and there. And I just wanted to speak to what has been that question, age-long question, quality of leadership in Nigeria. For you as a leader of your people, also a leader in the Senate, what is the primary concern for you, and maybe for others as well? Is it the people, right? In the Lagos or Rivers issues, people tell you, well, politicians are in it for themselves. It's primarily for their own personal gain, their political structure, their protection. So what guides your decisions, your actions? Is it the people? Is it your own personal ambition preserving you in power, or preserving that institution in that sense? What is the key thing for you, and why have we not been able to see that play out in the, well, eventual outcome of leadership? Because it looks like leadership is far from the people.
Well, the primary purpose of governance is to pursue the well-being of the people, protection of lives and properties, and then the general well-being of the people. That is the primary responsibility of governance. And if you seek to be elected into any position, the people should be the center of your focus, how to advance the well-being of the people. In Nigeria today, from what you see playing out around the country, particularly the areas you have referred to, you see that there are people who have found themselves where they ought not to be. Because if you are a man or a woman strong enough to be in leadership, nobody should be teleguiding you. That was why I was telling you that in the Lagos Assembly, talking about party supremacy when you have been elected into office should not arise again. Because once you take oath of office, you are accountable to the people, and you take full responsibility of your actions in the parliament. So those places where people are smuggled into office without necessarily going through the process of winning positions through the votes of the people, those who put them in those positions continue to manipulate them. And that is where you begin to see things that make adults begin to act like children. So the Constitution is very clear on all matters. And if you are in any position of authority and you are well-meaning, you must be guided, one, by the Constitution and the rule of law. These are the things you must consider before you begin to take any action. Not when you are somewhere, somebody calls you to a house, you go there, meet, and you take instructions. You run to the parliament and begin to execute directives given to you by somebody. That is the things we have, because those people are not independent people. If you are independent-minded and you are in a position to think about the people, nobody can railroad you into doing anything that will upstage the state or the affairs of the state, or something that will diminish governance. So it's not something that you go there and begin to play Russian roulette with your position. Yes.
Yeah, it will not be fair to have you. I will not talk about Anambra elections because our time is fast spent. So let's talk about the elections coming up. I know you're in the Labour Party, and we've seen what has been playing out, especially in Labour Party and the PDP. I think I read somewhere where the Labour Party said there's no plan for a merger. So Valentino Zibo, who was a strong member of the Labour Party, has now joined the APC. He contested in the last election. So where does this leave the Labour Party in the coming elections? You are a major leader of that political party as far as the Southeast and Anambra is concerned.
Well, one thing you cannot take away from people is their personal right to any decision. If somebody is looking for something, he's in the best position to determine what is most appropriate for him, particularly in what he's seeking to achieve. Election in Anambra State will take place on 8th of November, and today is just 5th of March. So we still have a long time away to that election, about 8 months. So many things are yet to evolve. There are yet to be nomination of candidates. And when we begin to question actions of people way ahead of the contest, you lose direction. We have to wait patiently. I'm not a new person in this process. I know that before you begin to discuss people and their chances, it will be when they have emerged as candidates in their parties. So Anambra State people have no choice to make at this time, because nobody is a candidate of any political party yet. When the nominations come and people are nominated by their parties, the choices will become available for people to make. So for now, I would say that people are just playing politics of convenience, and by the time the critical time comes when you make that important choice, who becomes the next governor or who wins the election on the 8th of November 2025, you will see people stepping up their calculations. And we'll begin to look at them in terms of who do we send, who do we choose. So political parties are going through their own problems. There are parties that may be having problems now, and their problems may be resolved before the election.
So, Senator...
So what is important is the candidates that will emerge from each platform.
All right.
And how the people of Anambra State will assess that person.
So, Senator, in other words,
there are too many things
what
that
a lot of people want to also know, pardon me to button, Senator, in other words, are you rejoining APGA? Are you going to APC, or you're staying in Labour Party? So we can talk about you at least.
My brother, I'm a member of Labour Party. I'm a senator elected on the platform of the Labour Party. I am in the National Assembly as a senator of the Labour Party. Have you heard me say I'm running for governor and then looking for a place to run for governor through? I'm doing my work, and that does not mean that if there are issues that will necessitate a certain line of action, that one will not take it. If I was in APGA and during the last election, I was stopped from flying the flag of the party. So if I'm in the Labour Party and some people want me not to fly the flag of the Labour Party, what will you want me to do? So there's nothing like that for now. I'm doing my work, and when we get to the point where this type of question will be necessary, I'll answer it. So I'm here working. I'm a member of the Labour Party, and I'm a senator doing my work. I don't have any problem right now. So my work is to do my service to my people through this very platform that got me elected. And for the challenges in the party, it depends on how they manage it. If they don't manage the problems rocking the party, everybody will have to find his way.
All right, Senator, totally out of time. In like 2 seconds, are you going to run for governor anytime?
Am I the subject of this inquest?
Yes, you're part of the subject of the inquest, if you will.
I'm a senator now, and I will be a senator till 2027. So, and the election is the 25th of, 8th of November 2025.
Which is why I was actually asking. I didn't say, are you running for governor in November? I said, are you running for governor anytime soon? But we'll get to bring you back. There's a lot to talk about in terms of the region and your state and your person, Senator Umeh. But I must thank you, Senator representing Anambra Central.
Thank you very much. And I want to part with a word. Let's leave the Senate to function and serve the people. We're not playing Romeo and Juliet in the Senate. Thank you.
Senator, we will continue to hold the Senate accountable because they represent our people. So that's why we ask the question. It's called the People's House for a reason. So the people have no other place to go and knock than the doors of the Senate and the House of Reps. But we must thank you, Senator Umeh, Victor Umeh, representing Anambra Central from the Labour Party. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. And we will now take a quick break. We'll switch gears now. We're not talking about Senator Umeh. We'll talk about the broader conversation around the Southeast region, security, economy, and everything in between. Join us again.